Hi, good morning.
Hi, sorry, I'm on mute. Yeah, good morning. We're just waiting for him to join us, but anyhow, while waiting for him, I don't want to waste time.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, let me tell them, or let me first tell them to all our audience. I think we have some who are subscribing to our channel, and so we would like to tell everyone that this is going to be a one-on-one interview. So basically, we have this one student who is going to be taking the test very soon, and Brian Wren is going to be asking questions. So he is in charge of part one, part two, and part three. So he has already prepared questions for this person. And then after that, I'm gonna do my evaluation. So I'll give the band score, right? Yes. So while waiting for him, I hope how's the weather there?
In the UK, it's autumn weather, so getting cold, going
Okay.
dark early,
Mm-hmm. How's the COVID case?
getting high.
Oh, really?
Yes, we have. I just had my third booster shot on on Sunday, so
Mm-hmm.
the cases have just stayed really, really high, and we still have millions of people who refuse to have the vaccination. So
Why? Yeah, why is that? I mean, not for anything, but I don't want to judge them for their decision of, not getting vaccine because even in the Philippines, there's still a lot of people who are reluctant about it. So I want to know, I mean, in your opinion, why do you think, they're really in doubt of it, this vaccine?
I I don't know really, because for me, it seems that it's a type of vaccine which is quite similar to the ones that we've had before. And it's been tested a lot. I mean, I think a billion people have had it. So the side effects are kind of pretty well known now. Um, Yet people are terrified of it. I mean, even in the working in the hospitals where, my wife is a nurse in the hospital,
Mhm.
and there's many people working in the hospitals who are refusing the vaccine. And the funny thing is, of course, that to work in a hospital, you have to have a lot of vaccines. You have to have hepatitis, you have to have
True,
TB,
true.
and then people are saying, well, we've had all of these other vaccines, but then suddenly this new one, which appears to be, doesn't appear to be a terrible amount of side effects. We don't want this one. So it's quite a strange phenomenon, really. Um, so
Yes, because here in the US, I actually just found out that there is already available vaccine for 5 to 11 years old.
yeah,
Yeah, so five years old to 11, they can get the shot, and I'm not sure if it's actually available in your country. Is it?
no, not for the young children yet. The
Oh, okay.
But I mean, the crazy thing about it is that it's not really an illness that affects children a lot, but the only reason it's hanging around is because there's so many people that are unvaccinated. So we're trying to like vaccinate the children to save the unvaccinated old people. And I find it extraordinary. And I actually went on the train a couple of days ago, which was really packed, and I was quite scared of this, of catching COVID, because I already had it before.
Yeah.
And but most people, appear to just run around like like it's nothing. Um, so
True,
yeah, it's
for
very
real.
it's very strange attitude that people have. Why they've suddenly kind of picked on this one, and the people picked on it from the first minute that COVID came along, and they're just convinced that not only was it all a con in the first place, but then the vaccine is also a con. And but I think in the UK there's 2 million people over the age of 50 have not had the vaccine yet.
Yeah,
you know, and when if you're a teenager, I don't think it makes much difference. But when you're getting a bit older, but people just seem dead set against it, and I don't quite know what. I guess it shows the distrust of governments, really.
Yeah, I don't know, but here in the US, I just see that some people are still not convinced that this is really going to give them, their safety net, because like I said, they think that it's like a poison or something that they're going to turn off like a zombie. I don't know if it's the same in the UK,
yeah,
but that's
it's
how they
the same.
think.
I can only call it nonsense, really. That it's like completely unscientific. I mean, the most extraordinary thing is, I've seen the stories about these protesters going into the schools and going to the head teacher, the principal, you'd call it in America, and reading out this supposed legal message, like, I hereby give you notice that that under the rules of 500 years ago, that it's illegal to give the children these vaccines and everything. And these people think they have some kind of like strange legal powers to impose their rule onto the teachers and everything. And then around here, all of the signs indicating I'll go to the COVID vaccination center, they've all been vandalized and graffitied over. This is quite extraordinary. And
yeah, just hang on a second, because this student of mine just said, just give me actually the internet. I don't know, for some reasons it's not connecting. So I said, we can wait. He is actually connecting right now, but he said, okay, can you hang on a second? Okay, well, maybe we can wait for like a minute or two. Yes.
Where is he based?
He's based in the outskirts. General Santos City is already found in southern part, most of the Philippines, but it is located in the outskirts. So it's actually far from General Santos City. I think it would take him like 2 to 3 hours. So we'll just wait for him. Because he really wants us to help him in terms of his like speaking ability. So I hope that, I think he'd be more comfortable if he's going to be interviewed by the native speaker, because it's really different when you get to have this kind of feeling that you're being asked questions by someone like a stranger, and then he's a native speaker. And good thing that you are a native speaker, because I think sometimes when I'm the one doing the interview, they tend to be complacent about it, just because I don't know, maybe because I have familiar face. So if it's going to be their first time, I think there's this, it gives them more of what preparation, I think, for the real test. So so okay, just give me 1 sec. Anyway, yeah, he's still not connecting. So is it all right with you that we'll do? I'll pretend this time. I'll pretend this
Okay.
time I'm the examinee and you
Yeah.
are my examiner. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think we haven't done that before.
So you want me to be the examinee?
Yeah. No, I am the
Okay.
examiner. I am the examinee, and you will be my examiner.
Okay. I'd like
Is
to
it
do
all
it the other
right?
way. Yeah.
Yeah, is it right? Okay. Yeah, just the same. Yeah, same old thing that we do.
You know, I think it's interesting that even you know, the nerves of doing this of this type of thing, you know, how people get nervous.
Yeah.
Even I will be nervous to do this, because you know, it's easy to make a mistake even as a native speaker, and you know, let alone obviously I don't have any problems with the language, but still you have to answer the questions correctly, and you know, of course you're under pressure, and
True. That's
so
true actually. And they always complain about, it's really different. You think it's just easy because you get used to it, but when you're there and you're being interviewed, you're really gonna get nervous, especially if you know that this person doesn't know anything about you and he is expecting a lot from you.
yeah,
You're being graded, and you know that if you're not gonna make it or do it right, you're gonna fail, and you will be
yeah,
taking this same test over again. And
yes,
that's actually one of the problems right now among Filipino nurses in the Philippines. Of course, some are also in UK, some are in Dubai because they have a lot of students in Dubai, and they always talk about it's really difficult to pass the speaking part
hmm
in the IELTS.
yeah,
They even get a perfect score for their listening, reading, and writing. But when it comes to their speaking part, they always have
hmm
problems getting a 7 band score,
yeah,
and I don't understand why. What
hmm
why is that?
yeah. I always remember when I was in Davao,
Mhm.
the I used to play tennis, and the people I played tennis with, you know, were very educated people. Many of them were, you know, could really speak very good English. But after a few minutes of speaking to me, they would get this nosebleed or songo, and just like,
Songbo. Yeah,
that's
that's what
it.
they say.
We can't speak to this guy anymore. And these were people, you know, who were really
Yeah.
good English speakers, and particularly when they felt the pressure. So if they were speaking to me when we were playing tennis and their friends were listening in, this
Uh-huh.
created the stress for them, that you know, after the first few minutes they were not only speaking to me, but they were thinking about what their friends were thinking about especially their grammar. So I
Oh,
think
yeah.
this is something that, you know, we have to be aware of for our students, that there's more pressures on them than we imagine. It's not just speaking, but it's this pressure of peer pressure of what other
Mhm.
people would
Yeah.
think about them. And you know, it was always a shock for me that people would kind of run away from me and not want to speak to me, because they were suffering this nosebleed. And but
Yeah.
as an aside, I remember the time that I got stopped by the police for speeding, and I heard the one officer speaking to the other officer, and I heard him say "Songo," and then straight away I knew this policeman wasn't going to give me a ticket, because he didn't want to he didn't want to speak to
That's
me anymore.
hilarious. Yeah.
And so they just waved me on my way. And simply because they didn't, you know, they didn't want to, you know, be talking to me, because I'd given them my not my passport, my driving license, and they were kind of confused slightly about my driving license, so they needed to question me. So it's it's a real issue. It's a real issue.
I remember. Yeah, sorry to cut you short. I remember it. My brother-in-law happens to be a British guy, and then he drove one time, and then I don't know, but this tricycle driver just cut him, and he was so upset. And I knew then that for us, we would really not only just get mad about something, but we'll try. Filipinos are like this, like, or it's not enough to just like that, facial expression, but we really have to badmouth that person. But with him, he was able to, contain his emotion. He was able to control it. And then, what he did? He just simply opened the window. He scrolled on the window, and then he said, "Hey, hey, hey!" And we're waiting what he's gonna say. And he said, "You're not very nice. You're not very nice." Okay. And we just said, at least he's still nice. He's not just very nice. Okay. Not just a superlative that but we were all surprised. But they said that's the big difference between American and British. You tend to be really choosy. You try to choose, a more tactful word. I don't know if it's true. Would you agree? It's really different, yeah, with American and British. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we like to control our emotions in difficult situations like that, and we always imagine that if we get into difficult situations that we then need to be quite polite and try and calm things down. But I think it's changing. I was thinking that we should talk about Americanisms one day, and should our students be using Americanisms in the exams, and some words that we like, some words that we don't like. I think it's quite an interesting topic.
But for the writing, I would have to say that they prefer to use the British than the American English. Yeah. And that's the reason why you're going to get a higher band score if you're going to be using like words, which for us Filipinos, we are exposed, and we've been really exposed to American English. And so we settle with these words. But, with American, like, for example, like I always say this, instead of just simply saying, I want to get that score, you're just instead going to say, I want to acquire. Okay. So I think you're given
acquire
higher
or achieve. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but with some Americans, they're just going to say, "Oh, I want to get that. Okay, that score I want. I want to get that." So it's really different. And then, like for example, with like elevator, one time. Why are you not using an elevator? Sorry, sometimes I'm curious, but I asked one of the examiners, and then he said it should be a lift. And then I asked why. Why would you not use elevator? And then he said, because when you're going up, when you're going up, you're gonna be lifting that person, and when you're going down, I don't think you're gonna elevate that person. I don't know if that's really a serious thing, but it's different, right?
Personally, I think there are some Americanisms that I like. Sometimes I think Americans have good words for things. I mean, at the moment here it's autumn, but I think that the American word fall is a better word than autumn. It describes the season more. But then we get some horrible Americanisms that we use all the time now in the UK, such as we hear the train track and the train station and things like this. And it's not a train track. That's like it's a railway. It's a railway line, and it's a railway station. It's a station on the railway, and the train is what runs along it. And it's like sometimes I think that the Americans use good words, better words than we use, and but then sometimes they just ugly words for no reason. I think elevator is not a horrible word. It's not a horrible word. It kind of describes quite well
because
but I think
for example,
I think it's inevitable that our students are going to use Americanisms in the exam. I think because you're so used to it, and you know, things like when you go to the shops, you know, you go to the shopping mall, we go to the shopping center, and I don't think Filipinos would really know the English word for this, because the mall is such a big part of your lives in the Philippines. Going to the mall of the weekend is, you know, such a big
True. And then we say city center, right? You say city center, am I right?
yeah, city center or town center. Yeah.
That's the mall that we know. Is it? Am I right?
I think would you even describe a city center shops as a mall, or is it just where you get like a kind of a closed off pedestrianized area for shops with, you know, like SM and whatever that you have, or, you know, Robinsons? That's
okay.
Is that a mall, or is just the kind of any city center shop?
We have this what we call community mall, and usually it's just, you know, first stall. You don't get to have that. Oh, Sir Pete is here. Hi, Sir Pete. Hi there. Oh, yeah, I think it. Don't worry about it. You can turn on your video. You would appreciate if you can turn it on. But this is just a conversation. Don't worry about it. Okay. I know sometimes you get so nervous, especially when we see a white guy. Okay. I think it's pretty much normal for us Filipinos that whenever we see someone like Brian, we tend to get intimidated by his presence, and how much more if you're going to talk to the person. Right? Yes. I'm going to put you on mute. Pete. Yeah. I think it's really with the connection. I hope this is going to work. Okay. So I think Pete would always say that speaking is his water. And he would always complain about, you know, he could get a 7 in the listening part, reading 7. But how come he cannot just get 7 in the speaking part? And he's been wondering about it. So we'll try to ask Pete, can you unmute yourself? Because I don't know, I'm having a hard time unmuting you. Can you unmute yourself, and can you share to us your experience whenever you're going to do your speaking test? Okay, while waiting for Pete, I think it's really has something to do with the connection. Yeah, we'll just wait for till. Okay, there you go. Hi, Pete.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you?
That's fine.
Yeah, I'd like you to meet Brian. Brian is here to help you, of course. But first and foremost, I'd like to ask, like, what is so difficult about the speaking, and or any apprehensions? Why is it that you think it's really challenging? What usually happens during your speaking exam?
I just don't. I just can't understand myself, ma'am. Actually, maybe because I'm not using English language for a long time. Then I think the nervousness and
everything.
Everything. I don't
it's
know.
a mix of emotions.
Yes.
Yeah. So Brian is here to actually, you know, share some tips maybe before we're going to start. I'd like to, introduce you to Brian. Brian is in UK right now, and he is actually very willing to help us, help you, help our students, some who are, you know, have problems in the speaking part. So anything that you'd like to, any insight that you'd like to share, Brian?
I think the interesting is straight away I can hear that Pete he doesn't have a strong accent. His accent is rather neutral, and I would say straight away that I can see that you need to just work on some small technique, and particularly I would say leave a gap between your sentences. I noticed that you were filling the space. Okay, you've only just said a few words, so I'm having to make conclusions very early on. But I notice you're filling the space with a few ums and ers. So my first tip would be that if there is space in your sentences, and sometimes you speak for emphasis, and you leave a gap between the words. I'm trying to do this myself as an example for you. Don't be scared of that the empty space in the conversation. Use it for your emphasis. I see this as something very common when you're nervous, that you want to fill the space up, and then you when you come to the end of what you're saying, finish your sentence and smile. Pass the ball over to the examiner. So if I've asked you a question, what is your favorite color? And you will say, my favorite color is blue, because that is the color of the sky and the sea, which I so enjoy when I go to the beach. And that's it. You finish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you kind of take control of the conversation. But as I say straight away, when I listen to you, it's just a few words that I've heard from you, but I can tell you have a rather good accent. You don't have a strong accent. I can understand you straight away without adjusting my hearing. But my first tip would be just about that. Don't try and fill the space with ums and ers. We all do it. It's not a horrible technique. It's not a terrible thing to do. But particularly when you're trying to do a speaking exam and you're trying to put some emphasis on what you're saying, just take control of the conversation by leaving these gaps for emphasis, and at the end of what you're saying, just end it, smile, and pass it back to the examiner.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, would you like to ask, do you have anything that you'd like to ask? And, this is your chance, actually. Because we wanna interview someone who had the exam, who had difficulty passing the exam. And this is you're not just talking for yourself. There are a lot of people who may be struggling the same, like how you struggle when you're being interviewed during your speaking exam. And I don't want them to think that just because they speak English all their lives, this should be easy. Because that's not the case. I mean, I know a lot of people. In fact, I happened to be a clinical instructor before, and she had difficulty passing the IELTS speaking, and she had difficulty getting a 7-band score. And it is a reality that in the United States of America, you have to get a 7-band score. So I don't want you to think, Pete, that just because you had difficulty passing the speaking exam, sometimes we think it's a barometer. It's like, oh, maybe my IQ is, no, never associate it with your intelligence level. It's never been about intelligence. It's all about the skills. And it's all about having or acquiring that skills. Maybe you lack this, maybe in terms of vocabulary, you run out of words to say, or maybe in terms of grammar. Because sometimes you also get, even if the person speaks straight English, but because most of the time it's just simple vocabs, simple sentences. Simple sentences, the problem with simple sentences is that what usually happens there with simple sentences would be they tend to cut short, and it gets to be choppy, right? We talk about it. Like when you are saying, oh, I like it, you like me, we like each other, okay? Something like that. Of course, you don't want that to happen, right? Why? Because this sounds so choppy. And instead you say, oh, I like you, and, right? We use conjunctions to connect our sentences, and that makes it a compound or complex sentences. I know it's somewhat intimidating to hear this, terminologies, compound, complex sentences. I hate this sentence structures. No, not about that. It's just really trying your best to sound spontaneous when you're using the language and you are comfortable. Actually, that's it. That's what they want to see there. Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable? So the obviously would reveal that you're not. So I know that when you smile, it helps somewhat, like, you can make it appear that you're relaxed, but your smile plus, I mean, it's okay if you smile and you were able to finish the sentence, like what Brian just said a while ago. But what if you were not able to finish it and you were just smiling? The charm will not help at all. Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
Anna.
yeah. Would you remember the question that was asked or the questions which were asked?
Some of the questions I can
Yeah,
remember.
I'd
Some of the
like to
questions.
answer it. Yeah, I'd like to answer it.
Mm.
Would you ask me that question, and I'd like to answer it, and maybe Brian can also give his piece of advice. What was the question?
The
Okay.
question in the second part is about a hobby of a friend of mine, which I admire and I want to emulate.
Okay. So a hobby.
A
I think
hobby.
that was, yeah, yeah, because that was similar to the question actually Brian asked me last time, but I think it was more on the sports. I think it's an adventure, yeah, adventure sport or extreme sport. Why people engage into extreme sport? Why do they have to do that or something like that? And you need to talk about a friend who's into, this. So sometimes they just change it, but it's almost, appear to be the same just because you're going to be talking about sports or a hobby. Okay. So, like I said, if you're going to be given this type of question, just a tip for everyone and for Pete, usually you're given 1 minute to think about the question, right? And I already told you guys that for those who do not know, I always advise my students to draw a cross, right? Draw a cross. I hope I can uh, share that here. But anyway, you draw a cross and then you'll be given each question. You'll put the answer on the what quadrant, first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. And as much as possible, you're going to make your penmanship as legible as possible and make sure it's really readable. Because when you are anxious, your paper, sometimes you won't be able to read it. So you need to make it really readable enough. So you'll be reading that. And always remember that you have 30 seconds. Okay. So again, just to make this clear, what would you do first? What would you do first? You're going to draw a cross
Draw
and
cross.
draw a cross, and each quadrant you'll assign one answer. So usually the first question, first quadrant, the answer would be on the first quadrant. The second, third, and fourth would follow. Okay. And then after that, you will only do that. Always remember, remind yourself, I'll be doing this for 30 seconds only. Wait a minute. You told me you're giving me 1 minute to talk about or think about it. Why are you telling me now that I should be doing this for 30 seconds? Because half of that 1 minute, okay, listen, half of that 1 minute would be spent for what? Reading what you have written. You should have enough time to read what you have written. So 30 seconds for you to write what you are going to talk about for 2 minutes, and 30 seconds for you to read what you have written. So you're somewhat, preparing for it. You'll be using connecting words, or what we call again cohesive devices. So there will be, So I'd like to share that. Okay, maybe this one, for example, I'd like to share this. Like this one. Just share what you wanna share, Brian. If there's anything that I miss, feel free.
Mhm.
Okay, I'd like to share this one, for example. Okay, like this question. Okay, sorry. Okay, hang on a second. This is not, I'm not supposed to share. Okay, not that. Okay. This one. So this, for example, is your part 2. Okay. Supposedly, this is the part 2 question. Let me share that. I hope you can see it from there.
Mm-hmm.
Describe a house, right? Describe a house or apartment you would like to live in. You should say where it is, where it would be, what you would like to do there, who you would like to live there, and explain why you would like to live in this place. So you have 30 seconds to write something there. And let me just, tell this or share this to everyone that this is how I, suggest on answering your part 2. Okay, I hope you will never forget this, or you still remember this.
Yes.
Repeat, right?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so you're
I'm
gonna
following.
draw a cross, and I told you about it that instead of you're gonna draw a cross. So I hope I can do this. Okay, I don't know if I can do this. So no, I don't think I can. But anyway, this is what I always share. So first quadrant where it is, then for example, that would be in Florida. What you would like, so just write on the first quadrant, Florida, and then what you would like to do there. So you'd say, of course, live. You want to live there. Then who? Family. So again, let me picture it out. I'm just using my hand gesture to make it easy for everyone. So first quadrant, Florida. That's just it. You're not gonna write sentences. Okay, you're not gonna write sentences because you only have 30 seconds to do that. Where it is, where it would be. What you would like to do, live. Work and live. That's just it. Work and live. And then who you would like to live there, of course, your family. You can talk about it just to, give them some heads up. You can say nuclear family, immediate family, okay, or extended family if you want to talk about it. Then explain you would like to live in this place. You're going to say something about the place. It's a tropical, okay, it has a tropical climate, which is almost the same with the Philippines, blah, blah, blah. So you're going to be writing this, right? So I've only written perhaps 10 words for everything. 1 word for Florida, what you would like to do there, work and live, 3 words, so that's 4. Who you would like, family, then explain why you would like to live there, the tropical climate. That's it. Okay, I hope you're seeing this. So first quadrant, Florida, what you would like to do there. Second quadrant, live and work, work and live. Who, family, explain what you would like, tropical climate. Never forget, okay, to put on the upper right portion the tense. Okay, what you would like to do there. So who you would like to live there with, explain how or why you would like. So this is somewhat happening in the future or something like you want to foresee yourself someday. Where do you foresee yourself someday? So be very mindful of that tense there because examiner doesn't want to hear any past tense form of the verb because they are asking questions of a place, or they're asking, questions related to a place that you would like to live in someday. Okay, so I hope that is clear. So how are we going to do that? So 30 seconds. And then after that, 30 seconds to read what you have written. So Florida, work and live, family, why you would like to live there, the tropical climate. Okay, so the examiner will tell you now, your 1 minute has elapsed. Now you may start talking. That, okay? So how are you going to start your topic or your conversation with your examiner? So you are going to say, you can start with, I'd like to talk about, as if it's something that you really want to talk about, okay? It's something that you've been dreaming to talk about, okay? So I'd really like to talk about a place in the United States of America. It's actually one of the biggest states. It's in Florida. This is the place or the state where I want to live someday if I'm given the opportunity. Of course, I want to work and live there for the rest of my life. Well, no doubt about it. I'd be bringing with me my family. Of course, that would be my husband and my 2 kids. I'd like to start my family there. I like this place because of the fact that the weather is somewhat the same with my country, Philippines. There will be no big adjustment if you think about it, because it also has two climates. It's sunny and it can be rainy at times. So I've been used to this kind of climate, and I mean this kind of weather and climate that, you know, anytime it could change, but at least there are only two that I can anticipate. I remember, okay, that's it. So what did I do? For the first 30 seconds or 1 minute, I will spend my time answering all these questions. And then after that, I will have now the leeway, I will now have the discretion to talk about what anecdote or a story or a makeup story. Yes, you heard me right. You can always make up story just to show to them that you know a lot of words, you know what you're talking, because 2 minutes would be yours. Examiner cannot cut you short for 2 minutes. You're on your own for 2 minutes. So you'll be talking about your experience, somebody's experiences, or say somebody's yeah, just talk about somebody, or you can talk about yourself. It's up to you. But all I'm asking would be, make sure you feel that 2 minutes. You're not going to pause. You're not going to cut yourself short. Just go on. But sometimes I don't know if I've already, you know, spoken for 2 minutes. I'm not sure. Just talk. Anyway, the examiner will just cut you short if you're exceeding. If you exceeded the time limit that's, of course, assigned to you, right? So the thing is, just speak as much as you can on your part. Now, my question is, were you able to talk about it for 2 minutes, Pete?
I think so, Ma'am Ja. I was able to talk for 2 minutes.
Mhm.
But I just don't know if I'm I'm answering the question really. I answered the question really, because sometimes I'm very conscious of my pronunciation, and it's something that's bothered me actually. My
Yeah.
pronunciation and all the tension.
Yeah, the pronunciation. Unfortunately, pronunciation is 25% your score. Yeah, it will contribute 25% of your total score. But like what Brian said, it's not very strong compared to others, right, Brian?
That's right. Yeah. I think we had the discussion the other day about the Ramon Adora, who it was we were talking about the other day, who's high up in the Philippine government. And myself and Xiao, we were in a group meeting, and this guy had a strong accent, He's from Maguindanao, and he had a strong accent, no doubt, but he was an excellent speaker. But I don't know if he had training, but he was really using the kind of pauses and so on to you know, to very good effect. And I would say he has a much stronger accent than you do, Pete. But you know, was a good English speaker. So certainly for somebody like you, that is not a problem. And just as a small anecdote, I live here in the UK, and we're continually looking for nurses, and they're coming from India and they're coming from the Philippines. But the comment of all of the people in the hospitals is the Filipinos are much easier for English people to understand than the Indian people are. That's absolutely sure. So I think for Filipino candidates, that's the accent is not a problem. It's not a problem.
It should not be a worrying concern.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Surely.
But I'm optimistic, sir, and Ma'am, that I still have time to work on it before my next exam.
What grade did you get, Pete?
6.5.
Oh gosh, you're almost there then. You're so close.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Had you had Had
Actually,
you had the review with Mam Shah before you did the exam?
yes, Sir Brian.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you've done the review, so
Yeah.
there's I can see the things that we need to work on, but you're almost there.
Yeah, yeah. And I think he's just so nervous about it. Like
Yes.
he was absent for our driver.
I was,
Yeah, he was so, I mean, he was even afraid of me.
Mhm.
So yeah, don't just let your anxiety
yeah,
eat you up. I think, yeah, it ate you up. I think that's one thing also. It would really paralyze you. I mean, I'm just so
there's something.
serious about,
Yeah,
because I also have like, I'm not saying that I've never been nervous all my life. I think there are times when I just don't know what to do or what should I do next, especially when I took the NCLEX, when it shuts down. I took the test for 4 hours, and like I said, it's hard. It was a difficult test. Like I can just say that because you're going to be taking it for like 4 hours for 145 items. And then right after that, there will be an experimental test. And I took it all, like I finished it all. And these are the future, the questions would be the future of the NCLEX tests. So I took that actually. Um, it was difficult. And I had to say, I was even told by the receptionist to have a break because usually you'll be given like I think for the first 30 minutes, you'll be asked to, would you like to have a break? And I said, no, 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 no. I just said, I'm okay. I'm okay. And then the next 2 hours, I was again reminded to have a break. You can go to the restroom, powder room. Okay, if you would like to. No, 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 I'm okay. So I just pray that I can do this. I'll be able to do this. And little did I realize it was over. But I was really telling myself that this was the most difficult thing that I've ever done in my life. I don't know because I graduated 2007. Like I said, I forgot about nursing. And here comes, you need to take the test, which is a state licensure exam. So I think that was difficult. But like I said, I don't underestimate that anxiety. We all need that because it will give us adrenaline rush. Like it would push us to our limits. But make sure it would really push you to your limits. Okay. Right. Yes, Sir Pete. I hope that we had more time to do the speaking like this. That's why I wasn't, thinking twice. I was really thinking of you. You're the first person in my
thank
mind.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I
Ma'am
just
Jack.
said, sir, would you like? And I want to do this all over. If you want this, we can do this, sir, just to help you, just to help you more, just for you to be more comfortable with the presence of Brian,
Yeah.
because I know you'll be interviewed by Brian, right? It's different when it's me, but what about Brian? Yes,
Mhm.
anything that you'd like to add to this,
Thank-
Brian?
No, I'm really interested to see how Peter will get when we do this mock test in a minute.
Okay, yeah. So can we
Yes,
do
sir.
this?
Yeah, we can do it. If Pete's ready.
Are you ready, Pete? Let's try.
Okay, let's try. Let's try, Ma'am.
Yeah, just try. Let's
Should we-
just try.
Yeah. Okay,
Should
okay.
we unshare this screen so that we can
Okay. Hang
so
on a
I can
second.
give Pete the maximum stress by seeing my face when I speak.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so we're going to start doing the mock now. Are you ready for it, Pete?
Yes, Sir Brian, I'm ready.
You've done the test before, so we're good. Okay, so let us start now. So good morning. My name is Brian Wren. What is your full name?
Good morning, Sir Brian. I'm Dipito Balmores.
Okay, can I see your passport? So
Okay.
hand me your passport. Thank you. That's fine. Let's begin. Are there many animals or birds where you live?
Yes, there are so many animals and birds, like dogs. I have also my I'm also raising my chickens, free-range chickens, and ducks, things like that, and birds, because we have so many trees in backyard.
Okay. And what kind of places are crowded in your hometown?
It's the marketplace. It's the marketplace, especially when it's market day. Our market here is crowded because people from nearby towns are coming to our town and buy their needs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you like going to crowded places?
At this time, absolutely not, because of the threat of the coronavirus. So I'm actually afraid of going to crowded places right now.
Okay. Why do some people like to go to crowded places?
Maybe because will feel energized when they are in crowded places, and they want to see different places, or maybe because they want to meet other people.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So let's now proceed to part 2. And so I want you to take a piece of paper. I want you to plan about this for 1 minute and talk about it for 2 minutes. So your timer starts now.
My bad, sorry. So instead of this, I think it should be the question. Yeah. Would you like to? So this is your part 2 now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hang on.
Okay. So now you may start. Describe a process you do on a computer.
Okay, I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you so it's a lot easier. Okay. So you have 1 minute to plan for this.
Oh,
and 2 minutes to talk.
okay. So that's the end of the 1 minute. So now you may start. Okay, Pete, you can start with your answer. Yeah.
Yes, Sir Brian. I would like to tell a story about a process which I do in a computer. So it's actually making a duty detail. I mean, during special occasions in our town, I am assigned to. I'm part actually of the security plan, and I'm assigned to make a duty detail of the personnel, where to position them, because just like in last yes, the celebration of the All Souls and All Saints Day, wherein we have to to ensure a safe and orderly celebration of All Saints Day, especially in the cemeteries. We have 3 cemeteries here in our town, and I have to do the duty detail, and I have to assign personnel in each of the cemeteries, uh, and together with the maps in the computer, so that uh, before the celebration actually, we were obliged to present the duty detail or the security plan to the officials of our town, so that they will.
Okay. Thank you. Now let's proceed to part 3. So do you think children will disregard the basic skills of writing in the future?
Absolutely not, because basic writing is very essential for the students, especially children.
Okay. What can you say about mobile phones?
Excuse me, Sir Brian.
What can you say about mobile phones?
I didn't get it, sir.
What do you think about mobile phones?
Mobile phones.
Yes.
I think mobile phones, if not used properly, can also a bad effect on children, especially when parents failed to supervise the use of their children. They might use it to their disadvantage.
Okay. And how important is the mobile phone to you?
Absolutely important, because anywhere I can take it with me, and if I want to communicate with my families, and if I want something to research or to know about something, I can easily browse on my phone.
Okay. Could you talk about the possibility of mass media becoming more objective in the future?
Pardon me, Sir Brian.
Could you talk about the possibility of mass media becoming more objective in the future?
Yes, because I think because of the I really didn't get it, Sir Ryan.
Okay, I'll repeat the question to you again. Talk about the possibility of mass media becoming more objective in the future.
Yeah, because of the technology, I think mass media will become more objective in the future.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the end of the speaking test. Is there anything you would like to ask me before we end this test?
No more, Sir Brian. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Hi. Yeah, thank you. So now
So I apologize. I was the one that messed the test up in the middle of it by,
No.
by getting it in the wrong order. So,
No, it's all right. It's all right. So basically, what should be the case? You'll be answering questions, and like for the last part, I just want to emphasize on that. This is not to, embarrass anyone or Pete, or this is to help Pete have a better answer, because this is what I always tell to my students. There is no right or wrong answer. Of course, there will be wrong answer if it's obvious that you did not answer the question, but sometimes we deliver answer and that uh, most of the time it answers the question. But like I said, there's no right or wrong, but there's always a better answer. You can always sound like, you know what you're talking about rather than just simply answering the question. And so, for example, you were asked about to talk about the possibility of the mass media becoming objective in the future. What is this question asking you to do is to give your opinion about the mass media becoming absolute. Like they're not going to give their opinion on the matter. They're just simply going to report factual information without any insight or without what giving or shedding light to the issue. They're just going to say about it. Like, I mean, report it right away, straight away. That's it. So talk about the possibility of the mass media becoming objective in the future. So you can always, like I said, if you're going to be asked about the future event, what do you think will happen? Talk about the possibility. It's like you talk about the future event, being absolute, being objective. Like they're just going to report it straight away without giving insights or opinion on the matter. So again, your answer would be, of course, you need to answer the question first. Do you think it's going to happen? If your answer is yes, then you have to say that, state your answer. And then if not, of course, you have to also state your opinion on the matter or your answer. So for me, how would I answer that? Talk about the possibility of the mass media becoming objective in the future. So you can answer it this way. I believe otherwise. Opinions are really important in a report or for a writer because it adds spice to the topic. Like whenever they say something about it, whether it's true or not, just because they state their opinion, sometimes people get to contemplate more about it. And that's one thing about reporters or writers. They need to give their insight. In fact, people think about the opinion of somebody before they arrive on that, coming to terms on what would be right to for a decision to make. It's like you need to have an informed decision. So you need to have insight from people. So whether we like it or not, it will be part of the journalism. People will always say, writer, reporter, journalist will always have something to say about a certain topic. People just know how to put discrepancy between factual information and an opinionated info or information. So talk about the possibility of the mass media becoming objective in the future. I do not think so. Because opinions are important to add spice to a report. That being said, whether we like it or not, it will be part of the journalism. I think that's the main goal of the journalists. Report straight away, but right after that, they're going to give their opinion on the matter. And people will contemplate about it. Okay, so I think, did you get it right now? Did
Yes,
you understand it now? So it's all about objective. The word is objective. Subjective is the antonym of objective. That's the opposite. Okay, so objective means they're absolute about it. No opinion, no insight. They're just gonna report it straight away. Okay, yes. And then one thing also that I wanna, and how important that you were asked about what can you say about mobile phones? What can you say about mobile phones? You can start your answer with it is part of technology and it's something that I cannot live without. It's really important that you are going to give your opinion because you're being asked about what can you say. So now you are freely you have the liberty to take it as if it's a personal question, because there's a big difference when you are going to be asked about what do you think people uh, consider when they're using mobile phones, or what do you think the opinion of the public in terms of using mobile phones. So this is an impersonal question. Even if you are part of the public, you're not going to answer it personally because I'm asking about the third person's perspective. But if you are going to be asked, what can you say about mobile phones? Then you can state something which is more personal. It's something that I cannot live without. This is what I utilize. This is what I use for. When I call or text somebody, now I'm actually happy about it that with this technology that is around, it's not only used for call and text, but it can also be utilized for sending emails. In fact, I can even edit documents through my mobile phones. So again, what can you say about mobile phones? You need to say something important, personal. What does this do to you? Okay, so that's it. I just want you to think about it. And I've already made mention that, like this one. Any questions so far? Any clarification? Bit? And Brian, would you also want to add your point on this?
I think Pete probably suffered for a little bit from communication problems. Maybe he didn't hear the questions as well as he would have liked to. I think particularly on the complicated last question. So, but what I noted was that some bits of your answers were really good, and then definitely sevens, and then you kind of other bits of the answers weren't. And it seemed to be at the beginning of the answer, you weren't so good, and then you got better as it. So that's telling me that you it's a little bit of this kind of confidence of being ready with your answer, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also, like, I mean, I have already said my piece about you need to just improve on your answer because the confidence is there, but you need to really understand the question because examiners really also test your ability to understand the question. Because I think that's the first-hand proof that you understand the language. If you can literally understand the question, but if you're not going to address it right, that follows that you cannot understand the question, and it shows your competency. It shows your intelligence level. No, not at all. But it's just simply about the language. That means to say that you cannot understand the language. So it may be perhaps you have problem with your vocabulary or the inadequacy of your vocabulary. That's the reason why you have difficulty understanding the question, which I do not want to think it that way. I think you're just overwhelmed by the fact that you are being interviewed by this, two individuals here. But yeah, I know that you can answer this. I know that you know what you want to say. Like, for example, for this one, why do some people like to go to crowded places? Why do some people like to go to crowded places? I know it's a question that is actually very easy to answer, but you just have difficulty thinking what should be the answer to this kind of question. Why people like to go to crowded places? Why do some people like to go to crowded places? Well, for me, if you're going to ask me, I would say, I guess they like the chaos of the street, the stress. For some, it's exciting to actually watch madness or craziness unfold around them, especially if they live in a suburb area or somewhat like a rural place. When they get to a place like a metro or urban places, they get to be overwhelmed by it and they like the idea of it. A friend of mine told me that when he came from actually a small town and then he moved to a urban area. for him, it was a totally different setup, and it made life totally different. He took it as if it's a new experience. He was excited about it. So again, why do some people like to go to crowded places? Well, I think they like the chaos of it, the hustle and bustle of the streets. It gives them that excitement. Then you're going to give your, again, evidence. Your evidence does not have to be real experience, not even a first-hand experience. You can talk about someone else's experience, or you can even make up stories. Okay? So, do you like to go to crowded places? Not one bit. You're right. Because of the COVID, I start to feel extremely overwhelmed or something like that. Okay? What kind of places are crowded in your hometown? Where do you live right now, Pete? Where do you live?
I live in the municipality of Santo Niño, Ma'am Cha.
Yeah, okay. So it's not crowded, right?
Santo Niño, yeah. It's a
It's
small
not
town
really.
in the province of South Cotabato.
So it's a small town, right? It's a
Small
small town.
town.
So what kind of places are crowded in your hometown? So again, if you're going to talk about it, because I need to, you need to give me answers which are really crowded. You're not going to talk about something that's not crowded. Even if your place is a suburb, even if your place is like a rural area, you need to think of a place which is crowded. You don't have to give me two, maybe one. One perfect example would be a public market. Yeah. So what kinds of places are crowded in your hometown? So you can talk about the public market. Of course, what? Apparently people go there to buy their needs, basic necessities. That being said, they usually go there like in the morning, during rush hour, morning, and also in the evening to buy their meals. You know, you can also prove this, that people there are usually in the middle age group, or some are in the class C or class D, that they go buy meals. They have to provide prepare their food every meal from scratch, and so they need to buy their ingredients to the public market, and so they need to go to the public market. What else? Maybe a bus terminal. Okay, so what kinds of places? At least you need to think about the places, because there are times I was told by the examiner, you are not allowed to say, oh no, my place is just so quiet. Actually, my hometown is just so quiet. There's no noise there. You don't hear any noise or sound. Okay, unless it's a cemetery, of course. But all I'm saying is that you need to give the monkey exactly what he wants. And they would take that as if you don't know what's the answer to the question. That's why you have to say, oh, there's nothing. It's a peaceful place. You can't do that. Okay. Yeah, that's also another. Are there many animals or birds where you live? Sir Pitt, right? Do you have a lot?
Yes.
Animals or birds?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can just answer it. There are a number of them. There are a number of them. So you need to answer that first, because this is answerable by yes or no. This is an example of a what? Close-ended question, but you're not going to just simply say yes. So you can say it other way. There are a number of them. So that's another way of saying yes. Because majority of the people around my area consider animals as loyal companions. They love domesticating animals. In fact, my neighbor is, can talk about it, general evidence. You can talk about, I often see dogs on leashes and some wild birds in the park, even if, I am living in a small town, you can say something, and then you can also give your personal evidence. Always think about this. Worst comes to worst, you can make up stories. You can think about a general example, and then right after that, you're going to talk about something personal. Okay. And for both, you can make up story. Yes, you can make up story. You say, oh, my family own, you can talk about maybe you own a cat, or what else? A dog maybe, and then you can just talk about a breed that German Shepherd. Okay, so anything more that you'd like to ask for now? For your part two, is there anything that you'd like to ask? None so far?
And so far, ma'am.
Yeah, so describe a process you do in a computer, what you do.
Okay.
I've always been heavily reliant on computers. Whenever I send documents, correspondence to friends, I have to use computers. Okay. Snail mail is rarely an option nowadays. I often do it every day if there's a need to do it. Of course, because turnaround time is important in every task that's given to me. So for me, the best and the efficient, the most efficient and convenient way of sending correspondence would be through email. And I only use that, or I can use that, do that if I'm gonna, of course, use my computer, my personal computer, or you can also talk about a laptop. Okay. Yes, I know, sir, that you can actually do this. I am very comfortable and confident. I am confident, I should say, confident that you can do this. I think you just need, yeah, practice.
Thank you
I would say
for
that
not giving up on me, Ma'am Cha.
I won't.
I,
Don't quit. I won't quit on you.
Yeah.
Brian will not quit on you.
I will.
Don't quit on yourself too.
I will not.
I think one of the interesting things would be, as I even as I listened to Ma'am Chaz's review, is I don't think there's any mention of your accent at all in there. So I think that's one thing you can easily strike off your list. You were saying earlier that you're worried about, your pronunciation. I think you don't have to
Yes.
worry about that.
Okay.
Your pronunciation is absolutely fine. Would you? I think you'd agree with that.
Yes, yes, true.
Yeah.
I can actually understand what he's talking about.
Yeah, no
And the
problem at
thing
all.
is, because, yeah, I can understand what you're saying. I also feel that you're struggling. And you can hide it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, just manage your anxiety. I think it's just about managing your anxiety.
Mhm.
Right. So
Yes.
thank you very much, Pete. I hope we're gonna do maybe another round of this, and it's really a different experience. And purposely, we're doing this to help you and to help also the
Thank you,
rest of
ma'am.
those who need the same, who need to improve their speaking ability, because
Yes.
it feels bad for me that I know I can do something about it. And I think Brian shared the same, and I think he really empathizes as well. Those who can actually pass the test, but just because they're very anxious or they don't know what to do, they fail the exam. And for you, in your case, I think it just needs practice,
I appreciate
more
it much.
practice.
Do you think I
We
can still make? I still
Of
have time.
course,
I still have time for
of
December
course.
18.
Yeah. You of course you should have enough time. Actually, you're ready. You can do this every day. You can practice, record yourself. Try to look your. I mean, right, Brian? It's really different when you record yourself and you get to
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah.
Because when you just look into the mirror, you sometimes feel like, I think I'm
Yeah.
doing it right. I'm okay with it. But when you hear yourself, now it gives you a different idea on how you perform or how you answer the question. And I think it's going to give you a different, impression about yourself. So you get to know your weaknesses and your strengths. I don't know if you'd agree with me, Brian.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of people using YouTube and just filming themselves, uploading it to YouTube, and then watching themselves back. I mean, I always use YouTube on my big television, which is in the main living room. So I might record things on my phone and then watch them full size. And I think that's a great thing to do.
Yes. And I want to give this, by the way, I want to give this floor to Brian to talk about his YouTube channel. He also has a lot of YouTube channel. I mean, he has a YouTube channel and he has good content that I would definitely recommend for all my students. It's surely going to help
Yes.
you. Would you like to share that to us, Brian?
Well, I think this is something we're updating at the moment. But we have the IELTS channel, IELTS Brian, which is just we're making 2-minute videos. So I'm just calling it the 2-minute review. So each a few times a week, I just throw ideas into YouTube. Kind of small tips, really. I think the one I did last week was the just 3 things that you should not do before your exam. One of them, you shouldn't smoke before your exam. Your adrenaline would be high anyway. You shouldn't drink coffee before your exam. You should make sure you set at least 2 alarm clocks so that you're not stressed about waking up on time. And you should definitely do some kind of breathing exercises before your exam starts. The amount of people that are suffering from kind of panic attacks, and there's very simple techniques for dealing with that. So that's just one 2-minute video.
And there are a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend. I really recommend his channel, and I hope that for those who are watching right now, please like and subscribe to IELTS Brian. It would definitely help you. You know, this, of course, you have full access to this, and it's all for free. And we want to really help you, especially for nurses out there. Are you a nurse by profession, Pete?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you?
Yes.
Yeah, you are a nurse, right? Do you have plans of go? Which country do you want to live or work someday?
I'm planning to work in New Zealand, ma'am. Applying for New Zealand.
New Zealand. So we're gonna
Actually,
be
last I think 2007, I applied for the US. Actually, I took the NCLEX 2007 in Saipan, and I just renewed it twice. In 2009, I renewed it. It was 2 years. 2011, then
just the IELTS, right?
no, I have IELTS last 2005, ma'am. I took the IELTS already.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
and I was qualified actually to work in the US because
But you prefer.
I last 2005, because of my 2005 my IELTS was, I have a total band score of 7. The only thing below 7 is my reading 6.5. My speaking 7.
Yeah.
Writing and speaking and listening. Listening my 7.5.
Yeah. So see, you've done it before. I mean, you did it before. You can do it again.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Can
definitely.
do it again.
Why New Zealand?
I have brother-in-law there, ma'am,
Okay. Yeah. You can start a family there.
who is inviting me.
Oh, Ted. Is it Ted Belmores? No.
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Because I have a student way back 2008, actually, and he's there. He's a citizen in New Zealand. He's Ted Belmores. Hi to Ted if you're watching. Hi, Ted Belmores. So yeah, and he's a citizen there already. I'm proud of him. Anyway, thank you very much, Sir Brian.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
ma'am.
please.
Can I ask about regarding NCLEX, because I haven't renewed my NCLEX since 2011.
Yeah, sure.
Can I still use it, or can I renew
Definitely. You can contact your board of nursing. You can try contacting your board of nursing about it. But I think you need to have an experience. I'm not sure, but there are also hospitals who do not need it. I'm not sure right now, but one thing is for sure, you can have it renewed, I think, and have it activated.
Wow.
Because I just had one student, actually, I think 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, she took the test 2009, okay? And now what she did, she just renewed her license, and now she's applying for a letter of endorsement to another state. So I think, yeah, it works fine. Yeah, it's going to be okay. You can try that. Yeah, you can try that. And you can talk to us. Brian is also affiliating with a lot of agencies. Actually, we're going to be talking about that soon. Okay, we're just, we're just negotiating on something, or a lot of meetings to really finalize everything. Okay, so hang on there for now. I want you to contact your board of nursing just to make sure, okay, that you'll be a very good candidate if you're going to be thinking about, coming to United States of America. Okay. Yes. So anything that we can do to help you? Any question before we end this?
I think I also need the materials on writing and listening, Ma'am Jia.
Yeah. For now, we're gonna be doing yeah, just watch on our YouTube and also on our Facebook page so you get to practice that. But I don't think you have problem with your writing. Spend more time on your speaking. Okay. Yeah, I can really
Okay.
say, yeah, I can be sure of that. But in your speaking, yeah, give more time on this. This
Yeah.
component of test is something really challenging for you. So I have to be honest
Yeah.
with you. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Brian. I'd like to, yeah, anything
Thank
that you'd like.
you, Ma'am
Thank you,
Shah.
Sir Brian.
Thank you, Pete. Thanks very much
Thank
for your
you very
time. Great
much.
to speak to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Um,
Bye bye. Bye.